I remember the first one that I reviewed with Joanne was Phoenix. And Joanne and Ann Petrone, these two women that were my bosses, looked at the figure and had these giant boobs. And I'm like, they're going to totally make the thing go down. And they're like, wow, great tits. And I'm like, wow, these ladies are really cool. You make great tits,
yes,
Steve.
And I continue to.
Only that had been your slogan. So Jesse, tell me what this is. You sent me
This was, there's this guy named Paul Komoda who is maybe the most talented artist I've ever met in my life because he can, like this illustration, he can equally do in sculpture form or paint. And he also does writing, and he's just an incredible, he's the only guy in North America that's sanctioned to work with H.R. Giger, or the Geiger, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, the guy who created the alien. And I had him take a swipe at the lizard for an icon figure, and the rhino. And we never got to do that. These were going to be icon figures, and then hopefully use those sculpts later on as like legends. And the challenge to him was like, make the rhino so that you can hide all the articulation and still make it super articulated. And I think you'd be able to do that there. And the cool thing about this was, when Paul was done with it, I sent that over to the Spider-Man editorial office, and they changed the look of the rhino in the comics to look like this. So Ariel Olivetti actually is now painting the rhino to look like that. And I thought that was like the coolest thing in the world, that, you know, editorial paid attention to, you know, what, you know, gave a little lip service to us. So that was really neat. Oh, this was going to be, we did this robot Spider-Man that Paul designed and Dave Cortez sculpted. And it sold really well. It was one of those tools that we reused and reused and reused. I'm like, you know, we should just take all the A-tier characters, Wolverine and Cap and Spider, and do it like that, because it'll make a great toy. I mean, it doesn't really make sense in the you know, canon of the comics, but you know, we'll use it somewhere, and it was very few that there were very few times where we could actually go, you know what we'll need in the future? Let's work on that now so we don't have to scramble for it later. And this was one of those cases. And you know, we never got a chance to use it, but I mean, I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, this was Scott Collins. Had done a take. This was going to be a Build-A-Figure for us. We're going to do a giant absorbing man, as though he had like absorbed like the city, which he's done in several comic books. So it made sense. But I really liked working with Scott because I thought he had a really neutral style almost. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that like I could give something like that to Steve, and Steve could kind of do his own thing with it. All the details would be there, but you could still push it. You could still take it and, you know, like maybe there's a window frame on his butt or something. I don't know. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so another one of these things that we had planned for '06, what we were going to do, we're going to have 4 waves of Legends, and each individual wave would come with pieces of this, the Quinjet. We got it to work. We actually physically got it to work. We designed it in 3D. We split it up into 4 parts. And the idea was that, okay, we think we have a good enough relationship with our consumers that they'll buy consistently 4 assortments spread out over for the year. But what we're also going to do is with each assortment, you buy the 6 figures, you get the parts of the Quinjet, and then you also have a Build-A-Figure. But the Build-A-Figure is of a 6-inch scale figure that has like a character like Machine Man, where you could add extra parts, or Mr. Fantastic, where you could have like 1 giant hand or 1 big foot. Not a big foot, but you know what I mean. And then at the end of the year, you'd get a Quinjet. And we actually made that out of paper, which is really, we had this really talented guy working with us, Matt, who had a fantastic background in designing and developing things out of paper and making them look not like paper. And I mean, that it really, I mean, it's built like a car. It's like it's got frames all over it. It's really amazing.
And those look like a lot of Secret Identity.
Yeah, that was that was something that I did. I did those. It's like Ant-Man, Daredevil, Tony Stark, and then the other 2 figures I think we made.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite characters because I love the Micronauts Michael Golden book, and I had Scott do this. When we had our first meeting with Hasbro, we had this on one of the boards, and Wayne Losey was a guy who used to work for Hasbro, and he was looked at, he was like, "Oh my God, you have Bug on there," and I was like, "This guy's awesome." So it was cool to like have him react the same way we did. And this was,
Obviously a fan favorite.
yeah.
Broken hearts in the audience.
I read when this book came out in the '90s. The reason I liked it was so stupid. The kid that turns into Darkhawk one time was wearing a Faith No More T-shirt in the comic book. I'm like, this guy's totally cool. I really ended up liking the book, but I thought it would work. It's always really difficult to make those wings work, though. I don't think many people have gotten it. I think Mattel did a really nice job with the Man Bat, and DC Direct also, I think, did a Man Bat that had webbed wings underneath it that were housed inside of it. It was a really creative way to get that done because that really doesn't. It's tough to make that work on a toy.
I interned in the editorial office that was working on Darkhawk, so I've got an affinity for him as well.
Oh, really?
Iron Man and Darkhawk is where I was interning.
Huh.
Long time ago.
That was something that that was done for Carlos Lopez was another guy that we worked with. Yeah, and Claiborne Moore sculpted that.
Really?
Yes, and it's
So not a hot chick.
yeah, it's not a hot chick, which is what Clay typically does. It was really cool to see him do a monster because it came out really cool.